Okay, our next pitch is coming from Dr. Gerson from Doblet, who came here and applied all the way from San Francisco, California. Doctor, are you ready to go? Come on up. Explain when you're not a doctor.
Hi, I'm the co-founder and CEO of Doblet. So I'm a serial entrepreneur. I've done 3 prior startups and have had 2 successful exits. My co-founder, Jeff, also known as Doogie Howes around the office, started med school at the age of 16 and became the 2nd youngest doctor in US history. Now, as if he hadn't done enough already, he then went off to UCLA and got his MBA, and by the time we met, he was doing graduate work in AI. Now, I want to start by telling you about a story that happened in a bar one night. So I was charging my phone using a portable battery, and the guy next to me said he would buy me a drink if he could use it. Now, the guy next to him overheard him and said he would buy us both a drink if he could use it after him. Now, at first I thought this is just a great way to get free drinks. But then that's when the bartender chimed in and said he gets asked 20 times a day to charge phones. And I had that aha moment and thought, there has to be a better way. So rather than carrying around a portable battery and remembering to charge it, why not just make them available everywhere we go? So I convinced Jeff to come on board. We joined Y Combinator, raised some money from great Silicon Valley investors, and set out to create the world's first portable power network. Now, our solution is rather simple: phone charging everywhere, powered by brands. So imagine a city where everywhere you go, bars, restaurants, coffee shops, gyms, hotels, you name it, had power available, and you could access it for free. So brands love to sponsor power because they get access to more consumers, and you're never going to forget the brand that helped you in your time of need. And they're creating an immense amount of goodwill with consumers. Now, we're already live in 1,000 locations around San Francisco, and we've had phenomenal feedback so far. So this is very similar to the Citibank model in New York City or the Ready Bike Share here in Buffalo. And Bloomberg called Citibank the greatest marketing ploy of all time because it changed consumer sentiment of Citibank from negative to positive in less than 30 days. So imagine that. Now, our portable battery is unique because it does require the brand's app to work. So in the Citibank case, you would have to have the Citibank app to charge your phone. And when you run low on battery life, we send you a notification letting you know of locations nearby where you can charge your phone. So from the Citibank perspective, they're re-engaging users, and 90% of users that download an app only open it up one time. So re-engagement is huge. And our partners also get a physical presence everywhere. And this helps them stay top of mind with consumers. So there's a lot going on under the hood. This is not just your average portable battery. This is the world's first smart portable battery, which means it communicates with an app. We have SDKs that help us integrate into partner apps. We have real-time tracking and monitoring analytics, and we have patents pending in this space. So we have over a dozen Fortune 500 brands that are interested in sponsoring a city, and we have an international partner at the moment that's piloting this in 500 locations and wants to expand this into 110,000 locations over the next 2 years. I know it sounds very ambitious. So I'm sure you're all wondering, how do we make money? Partners pay us $50 a month per location. And we have evergreen contracts with 2-year minimums, and the average contract value is $20 million over 2 years. And we're already on track this year to do over $1 million in revenue. So by 2020, we want to be in 50 cities, have 45 million users, and 400 million in revenue. And we're building our team here in Buffalo. We want Buffalo to be one of the first cities where power is no longer something you need to think about. And we're looking to have Buffalonians help us in building out the network here. And I'm Dr. Gerson, we're Doblet, and we're Power for the Connected Age. Thank you. Oh, and my co-founder, Jeff.
You know, you could have brought a few of these because we're sitting here all day. We could have been charging our phones, you know, would have been a good, way to promote yourself.
Absolutely.
Okay, Rodney, you want to go first?
Sure.
I don't know if you did, but you are.
Where are you manufacturing these units? In the U.S., abroad?
Right now, mainly in Dalian, up in northeast China. In the past, we've manufactured in the U.S. and also in Shenzhen. So.
Is that a manufacturing job that you could bring to Buffalo?
Yes. It depends on the pricing scheme of Doblets depends on where you would manufacture. So, yes, it is definitely something we could bring to Buffalo, depending on the sponsor.
So walk me through sort of the value proposition for a brand. You know, I'm a McDonald's, I'm a Starbucks, I want to enable this, but you've been live in a handful of pilot locations. Are there statistics around app engagement, downloads, people returning to the stores, money they've spent in stores? Sort of, why as a brand am I going to enable people to walk in just to charge their phone versus actually become a consumer?
So there are a couple different, all the points that we were trying to outline here, and there was a limited amount of time, so we didn't get to all of them. But the idea is, as a brand, every time somebody plugs in, you basically acquire a new user. The re-engagement aspect is also huge for brands. The physical presence is also important for brands. And we've noticed from our network already that people, when you get a low battery notification, 20% of the time you end up going to one of those locations. So we can track how often people are getting the notification and actually going to that location to charge up.
Got it. And a follow-up question quickly on that aspect of it. So when I'm running low on battery, location is one of the quickest ways that my battery dies. And so I typically turn off location services. How are you using that notification and driving people to locations if they're low on battery and they're turning off the GPS in their phone?
So hopefully the idea is they won't have to worry about battery life in the future. If this becomes a thing, you're really not going to have to think about having to turn stuff off. The way it works at the moment is we draw invisible concentric circles around you. Apple only allows you to ping the battery life or the GPS a certain amount of times anyway because they don't want you to waste battery life. And so we get to it well beyond that ever happens. So once you walk beyond one of those boundaries is when we check your battery life and see where it's at and then send you a notification if it's low.
Sherilyn?
So I admire your ambitious expansion plan. Can you walk me through what the sales and marketing process is going to be like?
Sure. So, for the most part, we've been talking to lots of brands. The idea is we first find the partner brand. We go out and build out the network for them. So in the case of Buffalo, we would be out there building partnerships with local businesses to get the units out. So that usually takes us a couple months. And then once we've done that, then we actually sort of promote it and deploy it. But, enterprise and corporate sales cycles tend to be long, so that's something we've been working on for the last year or so.
Josh?
Are you concerned about wireless charging? What does that do to the business?
In a lot of ways, wireless charging helps us. Wireless charging is great when you're at home or something, but it doesn't really change the need when you're out and about and on the go. So at some point, if wireless becomes more popular, and with the new release of the iPhone 8, I think it will be, we could simply, provide wireless Doblets or wireless chargers throughout the city.
We already have patents pending, also on long-range wireless charging. So we're moving in that direction as we move away from inductive charging is just an intermediate step, right?
Somak?
Yeah, so I love the pain point you're solving, by the way. I always have this issue, like I'm sure everyone does. I guess two quick parts. So one, just the idea is like, if you talk about $20 million average contract value, I'm trying to understand, I'm just doing basic math, you're talking about tens of thousands of locations, so you're only focusing on massive brands like a McDonald's or a Starbucks, is that correct?
Yeah, so in the short term, yes. Down the road, it might be segmented off where bars have one particular brand and maybe, some other types of venues have other brands. In the short term, we want to make it easy for consumers to understand and allow a big brand to sponsor the entire city.
And for a location, when you say you're charging $50 per location, is that one thing basically charge multiple consumers? Because the question I have really is, even when you include chargers in a conference room, everyone's always rushing for and using it. And you're still going to have this issue, right? People are like, I have to charge my phone, so I'm going to go now and use it. How do you know that you're going to have enough supply for the demand for your product?
Yeah, so currently we deploy stations with 4 units, but we're also working on different form factors that go on the wall and can supply up to 30 units. So it really depends on the venue, and we'll sort of adjust that over time. We can track these in real time. So it's not just as if it's a dumb portable battery where you take it and we have no idea what's happening. Every time you use it, every time you return it, we know how many there are at all times. So if there's a venue that's getting a lot of usage, we'll basically come back to them.
So how do you prevent people from just walking off with these things?
That's the $1 million, no pun intended, $1 million question, I guess. So basically, inside of the app, we require a credit card. So if you don't return it, then you basically own that battery now.
How do you mitigate the risk of these cheap reusable charger blocks from kind of taking over the market? That's my first question. My second question is, so let's say you deploy in McDonald's and you have 4 of these units. They wouldn't want people just coming in and just sitting around charging their phones, not buying anything. How do they monetize the opportunity as well?
So if you think about a brand like McDonald's, the beauty for them would be they would come in, we would let them walk away with them, so you could bring it with you just as long as you return it at some point. Now, the benefit to McDonald's is you would actually have somebody coming back to return it, which could result in another sale. So if they came back the next day to return it, that's actually a benefit to McDonald's. And in terms of your question about sort of the proliferation of dumb batteries, I assure you everyone here in this audience will probably get a portable battery that they'll never use. They put it in their backpack and they forget to charge it, and thanks for the swag type of thing, right? So that's not going to work. And you can't have dumb portable batteries everywhere because people will take them and just do whatever with them. You need some way to secure them and some advantage for brands outside of just charging. There has to be that additional app component.
Any more questions? What is the cost of goods? Explain the BOM to the audience and then answer the question.
Jeff?
We tend not to, it's not information we're quite ready to reveal yet. Our BOM is generally about $20. So
explain to the kids what a BOM is.
What the BOM is.
So a bill of materials is all of the components that you use to build any particular hardware device. So when you open up say for example, you're opening up a Doblet. Typically we talk about BOMs where they relate to the PCB, the boards inside the Doblet. So for example here, so all these components at various amounts that you use will have different prices. And so your BOM is typically at say 1,000 pieces or 10,000 pieces or 100,000 pieces.
Great. I think that was all the questions. Thanks, guys.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate it. Thank you.